All right, so today we are doing the Box and Whisker plot to represent data, using a Box and Whisker plot to interpret and represent the data. All right, so let's say I'm having a quiz, and these are the scores that I got on my quiz, okay? My students all scored these scores. It was out of 20. So the first thing you're going to do is put it into order from least to greatest, so I'm going to do that for you. 3, and as I mark them off, putting them in order, I kind of mark them off here so I know not to use them again. All right, 19 and 20. All right, so the next thing we need to do is find the median. So that is the middle number. So I always kind of take my fingers on the outside and just kind of knock them off to find the middle two numbers. And we can see that these are the middle two. So to find the middle number, the median, okay, we're going to take the two numbers, 13 plus 15. We're going to add them together, and we're going to divide them by 2. Okay, so we take the middle two numbers, 13 plus 15. We divide them by 2, and what we get is 14, and that is the median. That is the middle number, okay? We're going to do the same thing for the lower half of the data between 3 and 13. We're going to find the median, okay? That lower half of the data is, I'm going to, again, go through. Now, notice it's the outside numbers, the inside numbers, and notice I'm going to take, it's between 10 and 12. So I take 10 and 12, I'm going to add that together, that 10 and 12, and I'm going to divide it by 2, and we get 11. Now 11 is what we call our lower quartile. So the lower median is the lower quartile. We're going to do the same thing for the upper data, upper half of the data. And again, remember, the upper half of the data starts with 15 because my median is 14. So I'm finding the middle two numbers, and that's 17 and 18. I add them together and then divide them by 2. So 17 plus 18 is 35. Divided by 2 is 17 and a half. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Okay, pause the recording if you want to write this data, but I'm going to just use that bottom part. Okay, so my upper quartile, which is the upper median, is 17.5. The median is 14. And the lower quartile, which is the median for the lower half of the data, that is 11. Okay, those become important numbers. Now, in order to make a box and whisker plot, we are going to make a number line that definitely encompasses at least 3 all the way through 20, okay? So I'm going from 0 to 25. We want our number line to kind of go from a little bit before the data and a little bit after. Now, we're going to come up with this, our 5-number summary, which would be, we are going to want to find our minimum number. Our minimum is the 3. So I'm going to put a dot right at the 3. Okay? That's 1, 2, 3. And then my maximum number would be 20. So I'm going to put a dot there. Okay? And then we're going to put a dot at the median, which is 14. And also at the lower quartile, which is 11. And then at the upper quartile, which is 17.5. Now notice for 17.5, these are by 1 unit, so you're going to have to go in between the 16 and the 17 and the 18. Now, how we make the box and whisker, the first thing we're going to do is make the whisker. And that shows the range from the minimum to the maximum. Okay? We're going to draw from the minimum to the maximum. Draw the line. This is what we call the whisker. Okay? okay? These are whiskers. And then the box is what will be my interquartile range, okay? Interquartile range. So that goes from the lower quartile to the upper quartile. It's a box drawn from the lower quartile to the upper quartile. You don't really need to fill it in. So we have our lower quartile is labeled, okay? Actually, waiting for my, okay, so my lower quartile, I'm going to start with our minimum. We've got our minimum. We have our lower quartile. We have our median at 14. We have our upper quartile. This box is called the interquartile range, and then our maximum. Okay? We call this a 5-number summary. 5-number summary. The minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, the maximum. All right. Let's try one together. This time, you guys are going to be doing it. Okay, so our interquartile range is the box. Pause the recording if you need to take notes. All right, so we're going to make a box and whisker plot. Pause the recording and put the numbers in order from least to greatest. Oh, let's go back. I want to talk about that. So we mentioned that these were quiz grades. Okay, so let's interpret this. Okay, so what this box and whisker plot means is that my lowest score, I'm going to draw in blue actually. My lowest score is a 3. My highest score is 20. Okay, my lowest score is 3. My maximum score of the quizzes was 20. Now, what that interquartile range is where most of the kids tended to score. They scored right in here, anywhere from 11 to 17.5, with the middle range being a 14, a 70%. 14 out of 20, 70%. So most of the kids scored from 11 to 17.5, which seems about right. Okay? That's typical for a quiz. All right, so now let's go and let's try one on our own. Let's try making a box and whisker on our own. So step 1, we're going to put the data in order from least to greatest. Pause the recording if you need to. All right, so it should be a 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. There's 2 11s, a 12, a 13, 22, and a 25. Okay, so step 1, we have to find our median. Go. Pause the recording. We're looking for the middle number. All right, so remember, I just kind of cross them out. And I am left with 11. Okay, that is my median. Now, for my lower quartile, again, I'm going for the middle, and it's a 6. My LQ is 6. My upper quartile is 13. And now I also will need my minimum and my maximum. My minimum is 2. All right, I'm not sure if you caught all that because it looked like my recording turned off. So one more time, we put these from least to greatest, and now we are going, we're finding the median. The median is 11. I looked for my middle number between the lower data. So that would be 6. That's my lower quartile. My upper quartile is the median for the upper data. And our minimum is 2 and our maximum is 25. So I'm ready to create my Box and Whisker. I need a number line that will probably go from 0 to 26. I could go to 25. And so my whisker is going to go from the minimum to the maximum. Why don't you draw that now? Pause the recording. All right. Going from all the way up to the maximum, draw the line. My lower quartile is 6. My upper quartile is, my median is 11. And my upper quartile is 13. And I draw the box from the lower quartile to the upper quartile. And I just label them. Okay? So, well, actually, I don't really even need to label them. So if these were quizzes and I were giving something out of 25, this might tell me that most of my kids are scoring from 6 to 13. 13 out of 20 is a D, 65%. 6 out of 20, 13 out of 25 is less than, I'm sorry, it's out of 25. So 13 out of 25, it's a little more than 50%. It's 52%. And 6 out of 25 is 24%. So my students aren't doing so well on this quiz. So one thing we might want to do is I might want to reteach it, because that's what the data is showing me. It's showing me that most of my kids scored between 6 and 13 out of 25. I want my kids to know more of I want them to know more of the information that's on this test. So again, these are their scores on a quiz, and they don't really seem to be passing. So that tells me I need to do some reteaching. So my minimum, my lower quartile, my median. Median's not in the middle of the box. It's the middle number of the data. My upper quartile and my maximum, the five-number summary. All right, so now let's take a look at these two Box and Whisker plots that represent quiz scores from two different pre-algebra classes. What can we say about the different classes? Okay, pause the recording and think about it. All right, so first we can say that period 4 is a higher level class because their inner quartile range is higher. Also, the minimum and the maximum is higher. I can also say there's a bigger concentration in their inner quartile range, as opposed to there's a wider range from on period 2. People are scoring from 7 all the way up to 22. So the range is much greater in period 2. They're more concentrated in period 4. Period 4 performed better as a group with a higher median, upper quartile, and lower quartile. So we can compare those. Period 4 scores are all more tightly grouped together. So period 2 scores are more spread out, just like I said. Pause the recording if you'd like to take some notes. All right, so now we have a Box and Whisker, and you have to tell me what is the minimum. I'd like you to pause the recording and see if you can figure these out. All right, let's check our work. Our minimum is 11. Oh, sorry, it's, whoa. Now, we have to take a look at this. Why is it not 11? Okay, notice the scale goes from 0 to 10. Okay, 0 to 10. That means each one of these lines represents how much? Represents 2. So therefore, my minimum is 12. So it's 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, okay? My maximum is between 60 and 62, so that would be like 61. My range, remember to find the range, we take the maximum minus the minimum, and we get 49. Our median is that middle number right here. So it's 40, 38, so it's in between 38 and 40, so it's about 39. It is 39. It's not about, it is. My upper quartile is the upper median, and that's 42, 44, 46. So I follow it up, it's at 46. My lower quartile, 30, 28, 26, 24. So my lower quartile is at 24. And so my inner quartile range is from 24 to, again, we're just going to take the maximum, the upper quartile to the lower quartile, and we're going to do some subtracting. Okay, we're subtracting 46 minus 24, and we get 22. My inner quartile range is 22. So that's basically it for the Box and Whisker. Why don't you try one more? Take the data and start arranging from least to greatest. All right, check your data in order. You should have 16, 22, 24, 25, 35, 37, 40, 44, 48, 50. All right, now find your lower quartile, your median, and your upper quartile. Start with your median. Now check your work. It's between 35 and 37, so 35 plus 37 divided by 2 is 36. And then I'm finding my lower quartile. Should be 24, and my upper quartile is 44.